Okay, great. Yeah. Oh yeah, I can definitely make an interview for Thursday at 2 o'clock. Pre-employment examination. I mean, yeah, of course. Uh-huh. Okay. Yep, I will see you then. I thank you so much. Now, even though you've passed your medical coding certification exams, a lot of employers will still want you to take a pre-employment examination. Now, it's hard to tell exactly what's going to be on these exams because they vary so much, but stick around because I'm going to give you some tips that you definitely want to know to ace these pre-employment exams. Hey everyone, I'm Victoria. I'm a medical coder, auditor, educator, and content creator, and on my channel I provide tips, tricks, and tutorials to help you be successful in a medical coding career. When you take your medical coding certifications, most of them are multiple choice. So a lot of employers, because they want to validate that you have the knowledge to do hands-on coding versus just picking something out of an option of 4, they do a pre-employment examination. A lot of them are just fill in the blank. They'll give you some cases and tell you to code them. I have seen some though that are multiple choice. One of my friends had one that was multiple choice and she didn't get some correct answers and didn't get the job. So she kind of forwarded it to me and to say, hey, can you help me out a little bit here? The one that I did see that was multiple choice did test more so on concepts like things like assistant surgery or what qualifies as a detailed examination based off of 95 or 97 guidelines. There is a huge variety of different types of pre-employment examinations out there, and it's hard to tell what might be on them unless they give you specifics of what this coding job entails. Like if it says general surgery coding, well then you know it's going to be focused probably on general surgery coding. When I used to interview coders for positions, I worked in a very large healthcare organization with lots of primary care as well as surgical and specialty practices. So ours was focused more on identifying where the strengths are for our potential applicants. So it wasn't necessarily a pass-fail. It was, okay, if we decide that you're a good cultural fit, where are the places where you would probably need less training or you may need more training? So even as far as that concept, it can vary between, is this a pass-fail, you get the job, you don't get the job, which is true for a lot of the remote coding positions where they are very, very productivity based, but some positions, they really just kind of want to assess where you're strong and where you might need some additional training. And if you need tips for interviews, I do have a whole video that you can watch that's interview tips and employment tips. If you go to the main channel, there's lots of videos on that as well. Another tip I can give you is that if you need your resume to shine and sparkle as far as being a medical coder, definitely check out projectresume.net. Projectresume.net makes medical coding resumes specifically for medical coders, so they know exactly what these employers are looking for. Check the video description for the link to Project Resume and tell them Victoria from Contempo Coding sent you. Now, a lot of these employers, they don't tell you if you got them right or wrong because they use the same form for all of their applicants and they don't want you passing off maybe to your coding buddies what the answers are so that they can kind of cheat their way into a position because they passed the exam. But some of them will grade them for you and give you the information and feedback about why you did or did not pass certain areas. Now, here are my tips about passing your pre-employment examinations. First off, bring your own books. Or if you're taking it online, make sure that you have books that you can use, or an encoder product if that's what you're more familiar with. I took a pre-employment assessment a few years ago back when we were on ICD-9 where the person who was interviewing me handed me this ICD-9 version that I'd never seen before. It was one of these old versions where you could take out the old pages and replace them with the new, and I was not at all familiar with the layout of that particular book, so it was hard to navigate how to find the right codes. The other thing, particularly for in-person, is if you show up with your code books in hand, it demonstrates to them that you are ready and prepared with the right tools for the job. Now, my other tip is if you're looking at a question and you're thinking this could go this way, or I'm just not sure, leave comments on that particular question. I was taking a pre-employment examination once where it was a 67-year-old patient who was coming in for an inpatient consultation. Now, Medicare doesn't take consultation codes, and it's assumed that maybe at 67 that patient was probably on Medicare, but the documentation didn't say. There was nothing referencing what insurance that patient had. So not knowing it, I put down the consultation code and then made the comment that, hey, if this was a Medicare patient, this is what it would code out to, because they no longer accept consultation codes. E&M in particular can be a tough one for pre-employment exams. My Medicare contractor has a different way of scoring detailed exams versus other Medicare contractors. And if I'm looking at a note and I don't know what that region is, I don't know that particular contractor's rules. And not to get too far off on a rant, but I have seen some cases where the pre-employment exam was made by Susie Coder, who worked here 6 years ago and everyone thought was the greatest coder in the world, and may not have been the greatest coder in the world, but they're just continuing to use that same exam because no one has bothered to update it, and there may be information in there that's not really valid anymore. By the way, if you're enjoying this content, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and I would highly encourage you to subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you can get alerts when I'm posting all of my great new content. Now, my third and final tip is that if you have a particularly hard pre-employment exam and you have to go back and face that person, or they ask you for feedback on the exam, don't act too discouraged or be like, oh my gosh, that was the hardest exam I've ever taken. More so what you want to say is that you're very excited about this opportunity and the information in the exam was very fascinating and you're interested in learning more and becoming an expert in this type of coding. So have you ever taken a pre-employment exam as a medical coder, and what was it like? Definitely let me know in the comments below because I am dying to hear your feedback. I will see you guys in the next video, and until then, just keep on coding on.